So in this class, we'll see class B power amplifiers. So what is the main disadvantage of class A power amplifier?
Maximum efficiency is only 25%.
Correct. Why is that so intuitively?
Because always it will be in active region.
Yeah. So the transistor is always working in active region. So what are we trying to do in class B power amplifier is, we will turn on this amplifier only when there is input signal. Okay. So the circuit of the class B amplifier looks something like this. This is just one half of the circuit. So you would have done this in lab. So I'm sure you would be familiar with this also. What amplifier is this? Have we done this before?
Common collector.
Right? So basically the gain of this is a maximum of 1. Correct? So how do you think this will work? So this will work as an amplifier. First of all, if Vin is equal to 0, this is off, right? If Vin is equal to 0, this is off. So you need a minimum voltage of 0.7 here so that the base to emitter junction is forward biased. Correct? So you need a minimum voltage of 0.7 here so that the junction is forward biased. Then this amplifier turns on. So during the time when the amplifier is on, V out simply follows V in. Right? So now, suppose say, if I give a sine wave as the input, if this is V in, what do you think the output will look like? Will it simply follow it? Okay, so let me plot both on the same graph. Okay, let me call this as V in. So this is V in. Whatever I've drawn in black is V in. Okay, so how do you think the output will look like? So initially up to 0.7 volts, this is off, right? Only after V in crosses 0.7 volts, this will turn on and therefore it will start following the input signal. Okay. And here again it will turn off, right? Again, it will turn off when VBE is not 0.7. This is with respect to the positive half cycle. So when V in is greater than 0.7, then only the amplifier is on. Okay. Otherwise, it is off. So, I mean, if I have to draw the output here, it looks something like this. It is off until V in becomes greater than 0.7. Then it will start following. Okay. Again, it is off from 0.7 to 0. So, this is with respect to the positive half cycle. Now, what will happen to the negative half cycle? What do you think will happen to the negative half cycle? Akash, Anand, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you think will happen in the negative half cycle?
It will be off.
Sorry, I don't hear you. Can you speak a little louder?
It will be off.
Correct. So this transistor will go off because VB is not 0.7, right? It's negative. V in is negative. So therefore, this transistor will go off, right? So this is going to work only during the positive half cycle. So this basically behaves something like a half wave rectifier, right? So this will follow the input only when the input is positive. So what do we do about this? So now during the negative half cycle also, I want the output to follow the input. So what do we do about this?
Use another BJT to work in negative.
So we'll need another BJT. Should I use a NPN transistor again here? So now you know that in case of an NPN transistor, when Vn is positive and when VB is greater than 0.7, it will work. So if I want to make this work, if I want to build a circuit so that it works for the negative half cycle also, how do you think it should look?
For the negative half cycle, we need to use PNP transistor.
Exactly. So therefore, what we do, we come up with another circuit now. So this is the actual class B power amplifier circuit. Okay. So we have a NPN transistor here, which is going to work in the positive half cycle. And we have a PNP transistor there. Sorry. We have a PNP transistor here that is going to work during the negative half cycle. Okay, let me call this as Q1. Let me call this as Q2. Okay. Now, how do you think it will work? Now, when Vn is positive and Vn is greater than 0.7, then what is the path it follows? The NPN transistor is on. So, therefore, this is the path. Okay, when Vin is negative, then PNP transistor is on, and therefore it follows this path. Right? So now, if I have to draw the waveform, if this is Vin, okay, so if this is Vin, where Vin is a sine wave, and if I have to draw V out now, so from 0 to 0.7, from 0 to 0.7, it's off. Both the transistors are off, right? From 0 to 0.7. And then it will start conducting only after 0.7 volts. And again, this is off. From 0 to minus 0.7 also, this is off. Okay. And then it conducts here again. From minus 0.7 to 0 is off. Again, 0 to 0.7 is off. And then it conducts here again. So I'm sure all of you will know what this is, right? What is this called? You would have studied this in your lab now. What is this called?
Crossover distortion.
Correct. So this is called as crossover distortion. So the advantage is that here the amplifier is on only when the input is greater than 0.7 volts. Otherwise, this is off. Okay. So this is called as, please make a note. Let me also write it down here. This amplifier is called as complementary symmetric push-pull amplifier. Complementary symmetric push-pull amplifier. The aim is self-explanatory, right? So complementary because you have one NPN, another PNP. Symmetric because the circuit looks symmetric, and then push-pull amplifier. So push due to this, pull due to the other, and therefore it's called a push-pull amplifier. So now can you calculate the efficiency of it? Because efficiency is a very important parameter in any amplifiers. Okay. So, I mean, very briefly, this is called a push-pull amplifier because one is going to push the current onto this load and the other one is going to absorb the current. I mean, it's going to take the current from the load. So that's why it's called a push-pull amplifier. And there are, this is with respect to power amplifier, but there are many push-pull structures which are quite interesting to study. Let's see if we can do a little bit of it during our offline classes. Okay, so first we'll calculate the efficiency now. Definition of it remains the same. So efficiency is AC output power divided by DC input power, right? So ideally, what is the maximum value the output can take? So it will obviously be 0.7 volts less than VCC and then 0.7 volts even here. So, but then since yesterday also we spoke about it, here VCC in lab you gave around 15 volts, right? But then this can be 20-25 volts also. So we are going to neglect that 0.7 and we still say output follows the input. So therefore, the peak to peak amplitude at the output will now be 2 VCC, right? So this can go, ideally it can go up till VCC and this can go up to minus VCC. So therefore the peak to peak amplitude here will be 2 VCC. The peak amplitude here will be VCC, correct? So therefore I can write PAC, maximum efficiency we are calculating now, okay? So maximum efficiency will be when the output swing is maximum. So this will be voltage into the current, right? So therefore, the peak swing will be VCC, V peak will be VCC, therefore V RMS will be VCC by root 2, right? V peak will be VCC, so V RMS will be VCC by root 2 into the peak current, IRMS, right? So let's say this is I load of peak is the peak value of the output current. This divided by root 2 will give you PAC. Right? Now what will be PDC? What will be PDC equal to? It will be VCC into IDC. Correct? VCC into IDC. So now if I know the peak value of the current, can I get the DC value of that? You have done this in diodes, do you remember? If I know IL of P, can I get IDC from that? Just multiplying that by 2 by pi will give you the IDC value. This you would have learned it in your diodes. We did it in lab also, right? When you're doing the diodes experiment. So therefore, now this will be your PDC. Now, can you calculate what is the maximum efficiency? The maximum efficiency of class B amplifier?
78%.
Yeah. So you'll get around 78.5%. You'll get pi by 4, right? So when you solve this PAC by PDC, when you do, you'll get it as pi by 4. That is 78.5%. This is the maximum efficiency. But in lab, due to the components and all that, you would have got it somewhere around 70%, 65%, so on. Correct? So now you know that maximum 78.5% of the DC power is utilized, is converted to AC power, right? So that is the maximum. Correct? Where do you think the rest of the power will go? They are dissipated in the transistors, right? There is power dissipation in the transistors. There are 2 transistors and there is power dissipation in the transistors. So how much of power is lost in the transistors? How much of power is lost in the transistors? So whatever is not converted is lost. Correct? So power lost in the transistors is given by input DC power minus output AC power. Okay, so this is the power lost in the transistors. So now let's do a little bit of calculations on this and see how much of power is lost in transistors and for what value of the output load voltage is the power lost in the transistors maximum. And let's do a little bit of calculations to find out these numbers. Okay. So now here we know that we have already found out PDC, right? PDC is equal to VCC into IL of peak into 2 by pi. Correct? So this can be written as VCC into IL of peak can be written as VL of peak by RL. Correct? IL of peak can be written as VL of peak by RL into 2 by pi. Correct? Similarly, I can write PAC is equal to VL of peak square by 2R. Correct? So let the output of the AC output peak voltage be equal to VL of P. So then the RMS value of it will be VL of P by root 2. So we know that PAC is equal to what? VRMS square by RL. So VRMS square is nothing but VL of P square divided by 2. Clear, right? This is clear, right? How I wrote this? Okay, so now I can write the power dissipated in the transistors PD is equal to 2 VCC VL of P divided by pi RL minus VL of P square by 2RL. Correct? So basically this is the power dissipated in the transistor. Okay. Now, if I have to find out what is the value of VL of P for which the power dissipated in the transistor is maximum? Okay, now I have to find out what is this value of VL of P for which the power dissipated in the transistor is maximum. Then what do you think I should do with this equation? How will I find that out?
Differentiate and then equate to 0.
Correct. So you differentiate this equation. You differentiate the equation with respect to VL of P and equate it to 0. And then find out what is the value of VL of P. So that is going to give you the value of VL of P at which the power dissipated by the transistors is maximum. Can you do that? Solve. Please solve for it.
2 VCC by pi.
Right. So VL of P will be equal to 2 VCC by pi. Were all of you able to get that? You need some more time to solve. I'll give you some more time. Were all of you able to get this? Do you want me to solve this? You just have to differentiate it with respect to VL of P and then equate it to 0 and find out what is VL of P. Can you please reply in the chat box? Were all of you able to get it? Okay. Okay. So basically, okay, at VL of P equal to 2 VCC by pi, we see that PD is maximum. So the power dissipated by the transistors is maximum. Now can you find out what is the maximum power dissipated by the two transistors? So we have seen that PD is equal to 2 VCC VL of P by pi RL minus VL of P by 2 RL. Correct? So now you have to substitute VL of P equal to 2 VCC by pi and then find out what is the maximum power dissipated by both the transistors.
Ma'am, 2 VCC square by pi square RL.
Okay. So what about others? Did you get the same thing? This will be 2 VCC squared divided by pi squared RL. So now, okay, let me give you some more time. I want all of you to solve. Okay, now multiply and divide both numerator and denominator by 2. Okay. So now can I replace this with something, this term? Look at this term. Okay. So earlier we discussed that P naught AC is equal to VL of P squared by 2 times RL, correct? We have it here. Oh, I left out a squared here, sorry. Okay, so we discussed that P naught AC is equal to VL of P squared by 2 times RL. Okay, so what is the maximum value of P naught of AC? This will be maximum when the peak value, that is VL of P, is equal to VCC, right? So this will be maximum when VL of P is equal to VCC. Therefore, I can write P naught AC max is equal to VCC squared by 2RL. So now here I can say PD is equal to 4 by pi square into P naught of AC max. So this is the maximum power dissipated by both the transistors. We have two transistors, no? NPN and PNP. So therefore, PD max, each transistor. So power dissipated by each transistor will now be 2 by pi square P naught of AC max. At VL of P is equal to 2 VCC by pi. That is when the output load voltage is such that the power dissipation in the transistors is maximum. At this point, I want you to find out what is PAC, what is PDC, and what is efficiency. Obviously, the efficiency will not be 78.5 here. No, obviously it will be less because more power is dissipated in the transistors, right? So now at this point, you find out what is PAC, PDC, and efficiency. So PAC is VL of P the whole squared by 2RL. No, for VL of P, you substitute 2 VCC by pi. And tell me, what do you get?
Four VCC square by pi square R.
Do you get a 4? So this 2 square will get cancelled out with this 2, no? So it will be 2 VCC squared by pi squared RL. Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now tell me what's PDC. So PDC is 2 VCC into VL of P divided by pi RL. So you substitute VL of P is equal to what? 2 VCC by pi. So what do you get PDC now? We'll get
4
that to be,
VCC
yeah,
square by pi square R.
correct. So 4 VCC squared by pi squared RL. So now what's efficiency? PAC by PDC, which is correct. Yes, it's good. 50%. So when VL of P is equal to 2 VCC by pi, the power dissipated by the transistors will be maximum. Okay, for this VL of P, the efficiency of the class B amplifier is only 50%. Right? So now we'll just see what all we did in class B. So first, we go for class B because we want the amplifier to be in active region only for when the input is present. Okay, we do not want that to be in the active region always and keep dissipating power. So therefore, we go for common collector or emitter follower. So here in this case, we see that the output will follow the input only when the input is greater than 0.7 volts. Correct? And therefore, we use both NPN and PNP transistors here. One helps in the output, helps the output to follow the input when the input is the positive half cycle, and the other one helps the output to follow the input during the negative half cycle, right? During this period where the input lies between minus 0.7 and plus 0.7, this amplifier is off and therefore you get a crossover distortion. So now we found out the efficiency of this amplifier. Maximum efficiency will be 78.5%. So the rest of the power is lost in the transistors as heat. So then we found out what is the power that is lost in the transistors. What is the value of VL of P for which the power lost in the transistors will be maximum. How did we do that? We differentiated this equation PD and then equated it to 0 in order to get what is the value of VL of P for which PD is maximum. Then we calculated PD maximum. So at VL of P equal to 2 VCC by pi, then we calculated the efficiency. So this is all we have done till here. Now I want you to take down one problem. Make a note of the problem. I'm going to dictate. A class B complementary symmetry power amplifier operates with VCC equal to plus 16 volts and minus VCC. I mean, when VCC is equal to 16 volts, this is a dual supply, no? So therefore, one supply will be plus 16 and the other supply will be minus 16 because this is dual supply amplifier. As you can see here, you have two supply voltages. One is plus VCC and the other one is minus VCC. Okay. If the load is 16 ohms, if the load is 16 ohms, 16, and Vin is equal to 12 sine omega t, determine the AC output power the DC input power, efficiency, power dissipated in transistors, power dissipated in each transistor, also find the maximum power that can be dissipated by the transistors. So basically, these are two separate questions. Okay, D says for the given condition, you calculate what is the power dissipated by the transistor. Along with that, you also calculate what is the maximum power the transistors can dissipate and still the circuit can work correctly. There are two different questions. I hope you understand. Can you try to solve this? Okay. Now, what is P naught AC? How will you calculate? VL of P square divided by so since this is an voltage follower, as in an emitter follower, VL of P will be equal to Vin of P. Correct. So since this is an emitter follower, Vin will be equal to VL. So therefore, this will be 12 square divided by 2 into 16. How much is this? So this will be 4.5 watts. Okay. So next we have to calculate PDC. So this is 2 into VCC into VL of P. Around 7.64. So now what will be the value of efficiency? Efficiency is, yeah. What is the power dissipated in each transistor? So the power dissipated in each transistor, which is PD, will be equal to P in DC minus P out AC. So power that is not converted to AC divided by 2. Why divided by 2? Because this is the total power that is dissipated by both the transistors, and the power dissipated by each transistor, you're going to divide that by 2. So this will be the total power dissipated by both the transistors during the operation. So power dissipated by each transistor is equal to P in DC minus P naught AC divided by 2. How much is that? So the power dissipated by each transistor will be 1.57 watts. Now, power dissipation capability of the transistor. So how much power it can actually dissipate. Now it is dissipating 1.57 watts. But now you have to find out what is the maximum power it can actually dissipate. That's what we derived here, right? So the maximum power that is dissipated by each transistor is given by PD max 2 by pi square P naught max. So P naught max will be when the input voltage peak to peak is equal to VCC, right? Plus VCC minus VCC. So what is the maximum output AC voltage that this circuit can take? It will be VCC squared by 2RL, right? So we have done it here. P naught AC max is VCC squared by 2RL. So that will be 16 square by 2RL. Can you calculate? Okay, should we do it together? Okay, let's do it here. So PD max is equal to 2 by pi square P naught max. So P naught max is VCC squared by 2RL. Okay, so now substitute and solve here. So you'll get that to be equal to 1.62 watts, right? So this is the maximum power each transistor can dissipate, but under the given conditions, each transistor is dissipating a power of 1.57 watts. It's okay. It is still okay because this is still less than the maximum power that each transistor can dissipate, right? Always this is the greatest. So the power that is dissipated by each transistor in any case must always be less than the maximum power it can dissipate. Correct? So here we have found out 5 values. One is for the given data, we have found out what is the AC output power, DC input power, efficiency, power dissipated by each transistor, as well as the power dissipation capability of each transistor. Okay, we'll stop here.